Are you new to bass fishing, but you have a limited budget? In this three-part seminar I gave at the 2022 Western Washington Sportsman Show, I'm going to explain exactly how you can get into bass fishing on a budget. If you like our videos, make sure and give us a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon. That way when we have new videos come out, you'll be notified.
Now, another avenue to go, and this is the most economical, is to buy a combination. Now I gotta tell you, 6 years ago, that one's not very long ago, 6 years ago, you could walk into a big store, right, the big ones around here, you could pick up a combo, and I have to say that 99 times out of 100, the reel was not matched properly to the rod. It was the wrong size, right? And I would deter people from buying a combo, but they've gotten better. They've gotten way better, right? The rod and reel companies have figured it out because it is important that the reel matches the rod, okay? Otherwise, you're gonna have a really bad case of tennis elbow at the end of the day. So the most economical is a combo. So if you're gonna buy a combo, and we look at the type of rods that we have. We've got heavy power, medium power, light power. If you go with medium power and you get 1 or 2 rods, or maybe 3, whatever your budget is, right? But keep it on a budget. Medium power is going to cover everything you want to do. From drop shotting to crankbaits to jerk baits, it'll cover it all, okay? Are you going to be maybe as efficient as say I would? Maybe not. But are you going to fish the lure effectively? Absolutely. Absolutely. So, medium power. You can find good combos from 84 bucks to 120 bucks. I'm not telling you to buy a rod and reel that you're going to blow the reel up in the first year. You won't. You'll get years of use out of it. Okay? But here's what you sacrifice. You're sacrificing your retrieval speed, because most of these are coming in a lower retrieval speed. And what I mean by that is gear ratios range from 5 all the way up to 9, right? So on my jerkbait rod, I'm running like an 8:1 on my reel, because I'm up there and I'm going, when I do this to reel up the slack in between my cadence, I want to get that line up as quick as I can. So that jerkbait's going brrr, brrr, brrr. Does it make sense? But can you fish with your lower speed reels of 5:0 to 1? Absolutely. You're just reeling a little quicker. But again, we're on a budget. So buy your reels. If you're going to buy rod and reel separate and put them together, stay on a budget. You don't have to break the bank, because trust me, this is the one that you can break the bank. Okay? Any questions on the rod and reels before we move on to main lines and leaders? Okay? All right. And if you do, ask. I like this to be a discussion, interactive. Okay, so braid and fluorocarbon are the choice of your serious bass anglers, right? I mean, this is the way they're gonna go, but let's face it, it's expensive, okay? Can you fish with monofilament? Absolutely. Listen, 35 years ago, 40 years ago, we didn't fish braid, we fished mono. And the go-to, it was 17-pound mono. We buy 17-pound string, that's what we fished, right? Why? I have no idea. My uncle fished string, right? Don't we find ourselves in those ruts? Your dad fished Berkeley, so you fished Berkeley. My uncle fished string, so I fished string. And then we get a little more educated and we start getting out of our little comfort zone. We're like, wow, okay, there's other things here, right? Here's a great line, and it won't break the budget, your copolymers. Copolymer lines are great, right? Take a look at Izorline's copolymers. But you don't have to use braid. But if you are set on using braid, here's a couple tips for you. Why don't you buy store brand? I mean, think about it for a second. You think for 1 second Bass Pro Shops actually makes their braided fishing line. Not at all. They have one of the top braided line manufacturers make it for them. But when you're in there, you take a look at the price difference from a big brand to a store brand, okay? Now, I strongly urge you to do this. Reels, especially spinning reels and bait cast reels, are now being developed so you do not have to backfill them with mono. And the reason is you backfill with mono so that the braid doesn't slip when you're in a fight with a fish, right? Because used to, they didn't have little rubber technology built into the reel, and you'd hook in and your line would literally just be spinning on your spool. It wouldn't matter how tight you made the drag, it would just spin. So we started backfilling our spools with monofilament. Now I'm telling you, backfill your spool with monofilament so that you don't put a whole spool of braid on there. And when I say backfill, I'd go a quarter. Fill that spool a quarter way with monofilament. Now you're using less braid, and you can take your braid and get it on more reels than if you spooled the entire thing, okay? That's a big one. Braid's gonna last forever, right? What I like to do, and I do this because all my rods, all of my client rods have braid, but I top shot them with fluorocarbon. Again, by store brand. Somebody else is making it for them. And it is good fluorocarbon, right? So I top shot it with a fluorocarbon. That really takes that braid and makes it disappear. How much do you put on there? I usually tie in 6 to 8 feet, right? And I'm using a modified Albright knot to tie that in. There's tons of videos on YouTube about how to tie a modified Albright. It's very easy to tie. There it is, modified Albright. Save money, buy store brand. Try it out. You're gonna be impressed, right? Okay, you do need some terminal tackle. Again, resist the urge to buy the whole peg. I buy the whole peg because I go through a lot of stuff. I'm the guy that you should be mad at when you go into Cabela's. They don't have anything. Yeah, it's because I just grabbed it all, right? I go in there and they've got green pumpkin with black flake Cincos and 4 1/4 inch. I reach to the back and I pull the whole thing out and put it in my bag. Am I right? Because when I need it, or if I run out, I don't want to have to go to the store to get it. And guess what? You got wise to me and you are now doing the same thing. So I need that stuff. Need some terminal tackle. Barrel swivel, size 7 is going to do you good, right? If you need barrel swivels, size 7 will be fine. Some hooks, and I'm going to show you some pictures of these hooks. If you want to take photos, you can. So a 3/0 offset round bend worm hook, right? You got to have a decent hook for your worms, but you're also going to be able to use this hook for your tubes, for other creature baits. You can use it for a variety of soft plastics. Drop shot fishing, or the drop shot technique in Washington State, is a critical part of your arsenal. Okay, this is a technique that you need to be using. Drop shot rods are on my deck from the moment I start fishing bass in the spring all the way into the fall. It's always on my deck. Size 1 drop shot hook, okay? Bullet weights. You need some weights. So I believe, even though I've got a super broad range, you can absolutely get away with 3/16 or quarter. You don't need anything heavier, because think about it for a second. If you need a 1/2 ounce, what can you do? Take 2 bullets, oppose them, and now they're together. And the best thing of all, put a bead in between them so when they hit, they clack. Bass are attracted to noise, right? You need some drop shot weights. Drop shot weights are a very specific type of weight. They come in 3 different shapes, and I'll show you some photos of that. So here's our worm hook on the left. Here's our drop shot hook over on the right. To my knowledge, there's only 2 manufacturers that are making this drop shot hook that has the integrated crane swivel, okay? VMC and Mustad. Now Mustad went a step further and they've got an additional little barrel swivel in there. I like this because you tie into the main line and then your dropper comes off the bottom, okay? If you use a drop shot hook that does not have this crane swivel integrated into the eye of the hook, if you don't use one of those, what you end up doing is taking part of your main line, pinching it out, tying it off so you have a loop. The moment you put another knot like that in your line, your fluorocarbon, you've just created a weak point. So I would try and find a hook that has the integrated crane swivel or the barrel swivel, crane swivel mix, okay? Down below you can see we have bullet weights, 3/16 and 1/4. And over to the right we have drop shot weights. Now when you're looking for drop shot weights, you're either gonna find them in like a little cylinder or you're gonna find them in round balls. I haven't seen anybody that has these teardrop weights. The reason I have teardrop weights is because I'm not afraid to pour lead. I've got hundreds and hundreds of pounds of lead. And so I bought a mold and I buy the drop shot terminal end and I pour my own drop shot weights, right? So if you do pour lead, you can check out Do It Molds. They have everything you need to pour your own drop shot weights. This is a great time of year to do that job, right? We tie our leaders this time of year, we pour our lead this time of year. Okay. Ooh, here's a good one. We're on a budget, so don't destroy your equipment. Don't put wet lures back in a box and seal it up. Make sure they're completely dry. One wet lure can contaminate an entire Plano box of hooks, and you'll go out there and every hook in your box is completely rusted. Right? That can get expensive, okay? And a rusty hook that lays on the body of a lure that you just spent $7.99 on will put a rust mark permanently on that lure, okay? So keep your gear dry.